It's a real pleasure to see everyone here, so good evening. I'm not sure if many of you know, but this week across the entire state is Board Appreciation Week. And so if you can just join me in giving our Board of Education members a round of applause for all of them. Our district clerk is just going to highlight the proclamation.
Whereas each year School Board Recognition Week is observed by more than 700 school boards and school districts throughout the Empire State, and whereas our state public education system is designed to meet educational needs of all children, to empower them to become confident, productive contributors to society in an ever-changing world, and whereas members of local school boards are dedicated to children, learning, and community, and devote many hours of service to elementary, secondary, public education, as they continue to strive for improvement, excellence, and progress in education, recognizing that all children can be successful learners, especially when education is tailored to the individual needs of the child. And whereas local school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations to the district by working closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision for all hold for today's students and those in the future. And whereas members of New York State local school boards respond to the educational needs of the communities they serve and help ensure the solid foundation of our school system. In doing so, these leaders help strengthen our state's educational system and improve future prospects for all our children. And whereas during October 23rd through 27th, 2017, special activities and programs will be held in communities across New York State in observance of School Board Recognition Week. And it's fitting to join in acknowledging the commitment and contributions of members of local school boards. Now, therefore, I, Andrew M. Cuomo, Governor of the State of New York, do hereby proclaim October 23rd through 27th, 2017 as School Board Recognition Week.
So our board members give so much of their time. Their contributions are vast. This, I guess we'll call it bag of swag, is a very small token of our appreciation. And I know you're here tonight in honor and recognition of all of their hard work and commitment to the 12,000 students across the Newburgh City School District. So just on behalf of all of us and to you, we just say thank you. Another recognition for this evening is for parent leadership, and so our Director of Family and Community Engagement, Ms. Pamela Peterson, will be highlighting various parents who also contribute and commit.
Thank you, Dr. Padilla. Madam President, distinguished members of the board, and senior cabinet. As you know, October is Family Involvement Month, and tonight we are here to recognize the contributions of our parent leaders throughout our schools. We have with us principals here to celebrate those leaders and to speak to their tireless volunteerism on behalf of our young scholars, our school professionals, and our families. So at this time, I'm going to call the principals to come forward, and we're going to start with Volunteer School. That is Mr. Gotten. He will be followed by Fostertown School, Ms. Marissa Ramos, then Bartertown School, Marcy Haywood, Heritage Middle School, Ms. Lynette Brunger, Meadow Mill School, Dennis Kemp, and New Windsor School, Dr. Lisa Marie Spindler and Melinda Moore-March, followed by Valesgate School, Sierra Briscoe Perez, and then I will be coming back on behalf of Horizons, because Dr. Rikas is not in district at this time, and then that will be followed by the athletic director, who will acknowledge our booster clubs for the evening.
Good evening, all. President, Dr. Lee. I'm here to acknowledge two of our PTA members from Bonneville Elementary School, Heather Christie Robinson and Eileen Iabrossi, who serve as the co-presidents of the Bonneville Parent-Teacher Association. I still believe the old adage says it best: it takes a village to raise a child. If that remains true, these two ladies are influential members within the village that support the raising of our children. They work tirelessly to oversee a very strong PTA that provides opportunities for our students from all backgrounds to enjoy experiences in and outside of the school setting. They are the bridge between our families and our teachers. As the bridge, they are able to support and transport events such as field trips, assemblies. For example, the Applebee's breakfast from a few weeks ago, the school store that has just reopened. They are the epitome of this year's district's mantra, do it with love. It is with great honor and appreciation that I now present the certificate of appreciation to Mrs. Christy Robinson and Mrs. Iagossi for making Bombville School a school of success. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Martha Reynolds, principal of Boston Town School. It is with great pleasure to be here with you this evening, acknowledging the board. Thank you for all your efforts. Mr. Dotton said it all really in his speech. I don't have a speech, I'm saying it from my heart. The person I'm going to acknowledge tonight is Ulysses Marmont. He is one of our parents at Boston Town School. The gentleman has no end. He's there day and night. He's going to school to receive his teaching certificate. He has two young ladies at his school, and he gathers all of the parents and unites them to do all the many activities that we do at least twice a month in our school. So yes, it is a bridge, it is a triangle, having parents, having the children, having the teachers, and having Mr. Marmont here with us tonight to acknowledge his efforts. As busy as he is, being a dad full-time, being a student part-time, and being my PTO president full-time. With great pleasure and with the heart and soul, my friend and my parent, Mr. Marmont.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I am Marcy Haywood. I am the assistant principal at Gardner Town School. And tonight we recognize Melinda Leslie and Joanne Peretta, who are our co-presidents for our PTO. Together they are a dedicated and caring team who work diligently to promote a love for our entire school community. They work hard with their PTO to create free activities both during and outside of the school day to ensure that our scholars can all participate. They go above and beyond to make sure that the teachers feel appreciated all the time, whether it's a random breakfast item set up or a stocking the entire faculty room with free snacks and coffee. Their thoughtfulness is never ending. For the past 2 years, they've sought to reach out and include parents of students with disabilities and our ELs to make sure that they too feel welcome. While the list is endless, the most notable aspects of our PTO is their deep love for our school. On behalf of myself, Mrs. Torres, and the entire Gardnertown Leadership Academy, we thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Board of Ed, for all that you do for our school community and our students. I'm here tonight on behalf of Heritage Middle School to honor, appreciate, and thank our PTO for the many ways they positively impact our school. As a middle school, we're so fortunate to have such an active group. And from the beginning, they have reached out to me and my administrative team to let us know that they are willing to help in any way. Because of their commitment to building family communication, posting on Facebook, and holding organized, succinct meetings, our school has benefited greatly, as have our families. And our families are better connected to school happenings because of them and their efforts. Without our PTO, we wouldn't be able to provide as many opportunities for our students, which include, but are not limited to, a Valentine's Day dance, end of the year events, decorations for open house, grade 6 orientation, our grade 8 ceremony, as well as monies to support a variety of field trips for all of our grades. And in addition, they are always willing and open to help us to celebrate our students' successes in acts of kindness and academics as well. Tonight, we recognize from Heritage Ann Danilek, Nicole Van Werven, Nicole Scruggs, and Tiffany Buxton. We appreciate and value your time, energy, and efforts in supporting our students. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dennis Cameron, principal of Middle School, K-8, and I want to say that it is a unique opportunity that I share this evening to acknowledge Ms. Allison Hope, our PTO president, as well as Ms. Gina Baddick, who is our vice president. This is my first year back at Medical School, and I'm really excited, and I can tell you that collaborating with both these ladies is unique and wonderful. We have accomplished so many things with even our new attire, so we are right on the path. But I just want to say on behalf of the administration and the faculty and students of Medical School, I personally thank you always for your willingness to collaborate with me, as well as my other APs. It's incredible work that you do, and I thank you both. Thank you.
Little entourage with me. Dr. Ms. Marie Spitzer, principal of Newburgh School. On behalf of the Newburgh School, Melinda Lamarche, my assistant principal, Ms. Sharon Kennedy, our 4th grade teacher, and I would like to take this opportunity to honor our PTO president, Ms. Wilbur, who unfortunately, due to a prior engagement could not be here this evening. I would like to take the time to personally thank Ms. Wilbur for all of her hard work, commitment, and for her countless hours that she has dedicated to ensure that multiple opportunities are brought to the New Windsor faculty, students, and staff. As a building principal, I know I can count on Ms. Wilbur to be available, be receptive, and be ready to do whatever it takes to make it happen. She does it with passion, and most of all, she embodies our district mantra and does it with love. Ms. Kennedy has a few more words to share.
Good evening. In addition to being a fourth grade teacher, I'm also the co-secretary of the PTO, and I'm very happy to have a moment to say a little bit about Pam Wilbur. She has been an integral part of our New Windsor school community for over 15 years. She has been an active member and now a leader of our PTO for many of those years. Her support and dedication are evident amongst all of our parents and faculty. We appreciate all of the time and the effort that she puts into creating a very welcoming atmosphere for our families at New Windsor School.
Furthermore, I'd like to take an opportunity to note that New Windsor PTO is unique to other parent organizations. Our PTO consists of a core group of teachers that makes our PTO possible. Ms. Sharon Kennedy, Ms. Tina Muller, and Ms. Morgan Herrera. Who deserve to both be mentioned and celebrated this evening as parent partners, as they are committed to creating and maintaining New Windsor traditions and memories year after year. They are the glue that holds the PTO together, and they need to be commended for their integral role they play, the countless and thankless hours they spend planning, organizing, and partnering with parents and students, as without them, the PTO could not run and exist. So I thank them for assisting and sustaining our PTO. Next, I would like to take the time to honor and recognize Mrs. Janine Bennett, a parent with a lot of heart and passion for our school community. Ms. Bennett is a very active parent and insists with her busy schedule she attend all of New Windsor events and lends a helping hand whenever she can. She's a recent addition to our school building leadership team and continually offers the parent perspective and has been currently working on fresh ideas for our family engagement and involvement. Furthermore, Ms. Bennett has taken active roles on hiring committees to ensure that quality educators are sustained at New Windsor School. As principal, when in doubt, I know I can count on Ms. Bennett for insight, parent perspective, and support. Thank you, Ms. Bennett, for all that you do.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Padilla, board members, district leaders, and members of our community. I am so thankful for the opportunity to publicly recognize the work that is done by Ms. Shaw and Ms. Deneen and the PTO team members at West Hastings Academy, home of the Gators. Ms. Shaw works diligently to ensure that our Gators and their families have access to activities that promote positive relationships between school and home. Thanks to Ms. Shaw and her team, my transition into Wellstate STEAM Academy and my transition to becoming a Gator has been attainable, and I thank you for that. Ms. Shaw, thank you so much for all that you do for our Gators each and every day, for their families, and thank you for doing it with love. On behalf of the faculty and staff and all the members of the Gator community at West Hastings Academy, we say thank you. Thank you.
So we have with us tonight Mrs. Kate Clark and Mrs. Christy Burgess, and we would ask that they would come forward so that we can honor them for their tireless work that they do at Horizons on the Hudson. So this time, we're going to have our athletic director come forward to recognize our booster clubs. And we're going to ask Mr. Ronald Maltonado to come up, please, to honor our booster club parents at this time.
Madam President of the Board, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Padilla, our Superintendent of Schools, and the Assistant Superintendent of Schools. On behalf of the Athletic Department, I'd like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be recognized. And even though I'm here as maybe a new kid on the block, I'm going to do my best. I'd like to begin by recognizing the Wrestling Booster Club, Colleen and Nolly Roman. They would come up. Representing the Boys Booster Club, Matt Brown can't be here tonight, but Mike Haas, will you come forward? Baseball Booster Club, Melissa Merrick. Football Booster Club, Charlie Rapia. Representing the girls' swing booster club, unfortunately, Joanne Forrest can't make it tonight, so I'll take it with me. Okay, girls' soccer booster club, Kathy Fody, Lisa Podlas, Wendy Sherman, and Ken Dando. Come forward, please. I apologize for thank you for the recognition for our clubs.
Madam President, Dr. Padilla, that concludes our parent ceremony for our recognition of our parent leaders. If we could all give them one more round of applause.
Thursday, we launched a very special initiative for our school district. In collaboration with Harvard University, Dr. Ron Ferguson, this past Thursday, we launched something that we feel is essential to the foundation of learning in Newburgh. Very simply, the Newburgh Basics consists of 5 research-based fun things that parents can do with children from birth to 3 years old. And this is all in an effort, in many respects, it's a doubling down on our commitment to the primary years. I really would encourage you to go to our website this week to not only see the spotlight on our Board of Education members, but also to see what this, what this initiative around Newburgh Basics will be. I hope that you will see it spread out through the entire community. And when you see it, I'm sure you'll quickly recognize and understand the importance of why supporting parents and children of that age is essential. And so the research clearly states that 80% of a child's brain develops the most during birth to 3 years old, and 90% from 3 to 5 years old. All critical years as a child is entering our school system. And so please, when you have time this week, check out our website. But before we move on, I just want to give a special recognition to Pamela Peterson, who again is our Director of Family and Community Engagement. None of this could have been possible without her leadership and guidance. And so, Ms. Peterson, I just want to thank you again.
Recognizing other people, but I would just like to say I had a tremendous steering committee that helped bring this forward. I'd like to thank Dr. Badia for raising my stress level up to here. And to my supervisor, Sarah Felice, who is so supportive as we move this initiative forward. So thank you for the opportunity, and we are excited about the Newburgh Basics. Have a good evening.
Item 2.4 is a presentation from Human Resources regarding their one thing. We have many new people here this evening. And so I just want to quickly, as they prepare to come up, just talk about the one thing approach that we have in our school district. As you know, there are a lot of demands placed on our school leaders because we have a lot of work in the district to do. And while we're accomplishing a lot, we still have some very critical gaps. And the one thing concept was a way for us to tell our school leaders, yes, you have a lot on your plate, but we want you to go very deep with one thing and experience success at the end of the year. So this is a requirement of all of our school principals, but it's also something that each of our divisional leaders are also accountable for. In the end, this is about student achievement. This is about closing achievement gaps and making sure that, again, all 12,000 students are successful. So this evening, we're going to get a very quick presentation regarding HR's one thing.
Thank you, Dr. Padilla, Madam President, Madam Vice President, and members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity. So our one thing on tonight is developing efficient HR systems. How we arrived at this is that we did a root cause analysis. And the root cause analysis that we did it through a process called interrelationship diagram. And what that does is that it shows the relationship between cause and effect. And so that's how we came up with developing our one thing entitled efficient systems. And so if you look at the slide, you'll see that there's 3 wheels with teeth on them. I call them 3 buckets. So these 3 buckets are the buckets that we decided that we were going to focus on for this year. One being recruitment, the other being onboarding, and the third, automated processes. Not necessarily in that order, but we decided that we were going to focus on those 3 areas. So why do we really want to focus on recruitment? We want to focus on recruitment because we want to be intentional about our efforts. And what do I mean by that? You know, how are staff recruited in the district? And then by what means is it done? So, as I just stated, we want to really be intentional about what we do. And so, John Maxwell made this quote. He says, it's not about getting the right person on the bus. It's about getting the right person on the right bus. So it's not just about hiring a person with a certification, but it's about getting the right fit for our district. And so we currently use strategies for outreach such as OLAS, Facebook, LinkedIn, Indeed, Twitter, and some others. So this is our lofty goal. This is our lofty goal. And you'll see that it's divided into 4 quarters: October, January, March, and June. So looking at October, we want to look at what the research says. What the research says about recruitment. And then we want to move into the next quarter, January. We want to take that identified research, we want to have that plan, develop the plan, and then we want to implement the plan. And so by March, you'll see the next quarter, we want to then try to find out what is it that we really have done with the plan. We researched the plan, we identified and developed the plan, and so what has been our efforts as a result of the plan. And then by June, we will be looking at, as a result, we want a target of 25% of all new employees hired by the district as of our intentional efforts. Again, I place the emphasis on being intentional. The next piece is that why did we choose this goal? We chose the goal because, first of all, we need a formalized plan. We don't want to be a department almost like a driver, have no destination, ending up anywhere. We want to make sure that the people that we have as a part of the Newburgh family is as a result of intentional efforts. And so that's why we chose the goals. And then there's evidence to really support our goal. And it's not anything new, but if you take a look at our population, if you take a look at our schools, if you take a look at our staff, if you take a look at our students, somehow they really don't match. Our staff are not a true reflection of our student population. And so how are we going to determine whether we have even met our goals? And so we're going to use our intentional targeted efforts, and we're going to use that as a means of tracking how many staff have really come on board as part of the Newburgh family as a result of intentional efforts, whether it be presence at career fairs, job fairs, whether it be intentional efforts of our outreach in different venues. We want to track that. We want to find out, is it really working? And if it's not working, then what we need to do to change it, we will make the adjustments. And so some of the key actions you'll see there, I won't read them to you, but you'll see these are the things that we believe that we need in order to be successful. And so the last slide that I want to present to you on tonight is that this is our goal. So for year one, we're going to be looking at a 25% increase. Year 2, 50%, and year 3, 75%.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Padilla, members of the Board of Education, senior staff.
Trying to figure out where to point this thing.
We are very excited to present our plan, our one thing plan to you. As Mr. McLemore had indicated, we are looking to become innovative, recruit and retain the best talent, incorporate best practices in our actions, and increase process efficiency, and provide high-quality customer service to our stakeholders. With so many great things that are happening in Newburgh, we want to leverage that. We want to create our own narrative, as Dr. Padilla often refers to, market and brand our district and community to entice the talent from various geographical locations. Once we recruit the best educators for our students, then we need to work on retaining them. We need to ensure that we are providing them a robust onboarding process, as well as providing them the necessary support throughout their first year. Research is clear that if new employees are receiving a robust onboarding process, as well as support throughout their first year, that the retention rate for new employees increases dramatically. Our goal is to develop a targeted onboarding process to ensure that 100% of our new employees feel prepared for their first year in their new position. You might say this is really lofty. It is. However, it is so important for us to focus on this area because we know that this is going to be crucial in providing the supports necessary for our new folks so that they can impact our schools. This is going to be a collaborative process with various stakeholders to ensure that we reach our targets. In an effort to measure and provide metrics for us to ensure that we're meeting these goals, we have set these lofty goals for ourselves. During the first month of new hirees, we want to survey them to see how well prepared they feel for their new positions. So month 1, we would do a check-in, and our goal is to have 50% of the new hires. We'll collect perceptual data to indicate that they are ready for their new positions. In 3 months, 75%, and in 6 months, 100%. In an effort to increase productivity, efficiency, and support our administrators and staff in the buildings, we will be digitizing and automating processes that we have identified. To demonstrate just one process that we have automated with the assistance of Mr. Schindler, our web designer, we have migrated to a paperless interview process. So this represents the amount of paper that we have saved by migrating to this paperless system. It has saved us a tremendous amount of time, paper, and money. And so our goal is to continue to be innovative, to be process efficient, so that we are in the buildings to support our leaders more. So our target is to implement technology-driven processes to eliminate antiquated paper processes by 30%. We have a 3-year goal. Year 1, we have identified several processes. Year 1, we have identified several processes for the next 3 years, and our hope and our goal is to reach 30% of those processes that we identified that are antiquated, to convert those to an automated, digitized system. In year 2, 60%, and 95% by year 3. And this, once again, is a collaborative effort with technology and various other stakeholders in the district.
So compliance is not going to go away. It's something that is going to remain with us probably until the grave. But if compliance is all that we focus on, and we focus all of our attention on compliance, we will be hindered by not allowing ourselves to be strategic in our creativity. So there must be an opportunity for us to have strategic conversations and be strategic in our creativity. That concludes our presentation, Dr. Wood.
Thank you both. Questions, comments from the Board of Ed?
Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Could you say a little more about what you mean by targeted recruitment? For example, will the targeting be specific to the vacancies that are available in the district, or are you talking about something more general?
Thank you for that question. We're talking about, when we talk about targeted recruitment, we're speaking about going out and recruiting for the best people for the vacancies that exist within our district. So it's being specific, it's being very targeted and intentional. That's correct.
Are there any other questions from the board? Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Very welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Public
No, not
discussion.
public.
Public discussion.
You have to read.
Madam President, that concludes my items.
Thank you, Dr. Dia. We're now at the section of the agenda for public discussion and comments on agenda items. Please refer to the regulations regarding discussion and comments that is posted next to the sign-in sheet. I'm going to ask that you don't use anybody's name if you're coming to the podium, so you have to work around that, okay, because that's one of the rules. The first person I have is Ms. Brielle Maxwell.
Good evening, board members. I am Brielle Maxwell, co-captain of the NFA varsity cheerleading team and a senior at NFA Maine. I want to begin by saying thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I am here tonight on behalf of myself and my team to support my team's coach. We found out on Thursday that our coach could not be hired to coach us for the winter season. To say that this news was devastating to us would be an understatement. For those who are not familiar with cheerleading or our team, I would like to take a moment to tell you about us and what we do. We are more than just the 11 girls who stand on the sidelines of football and basketball games, cheering on our team and getting the crowd involved. We create the music we dance to at halftime. We choreograph our own routines. We are athletes who work for 2 to 3 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, and we do this from August until March. We work hard in the classroom to keep our grades up. We are volunteers in our school and our community, and we fundraise for many causes. We have silly traditions that we do before every game and competition. And we do this with the support of our coach, who pushes us every day to be our best, to work together, and to do our best. This team has been together since last year. This team and our coach are our family. Winter season for cheerleading is different than any other sports. It's not just a new season. It's not just a chance for us to start fresh. It's our main season. For us, it's when we begin to put together everything we have been working on since August and perfect it. It's when we all come together and create a killer routine that wins championships. We realize us being here tonight might not make a difference, but we also realize we have to stand behind someone who stands behind us every day and always has. Someone who always encourages us to try a little harder and not give up. Someone who always tells us not to be so hard on ourselves if we make mistakes. Someone who always goes above and beyond for us. Someone who is not just a coach, but a friend and a mentor. Someone who has been NFA varsity cheerleading for the past 20 years. We feel that we owe this to her because we are not just a team, we are a family. We would respectfully ask you to reconsider allowing our coach to remain with us for the winter season. We began our season with our coach, and we would like to finish the season with our coach. In cheerleading, you have 2.5 minutes to be your best and leave it all on the mat. Regardless of the ultimate decision, we as a team will continue to make the most of our 2.5 minutes.
Thank you for your time.
Mr. Gil Piaquadio.
All right, I am Gil Piaquadio, the supervisor of the town of Newburgh, and I want to thank the board for the opportunity to speak again here this evening. And I will again be speaking on the project, The Ridge, which I think will be in front of the board very soon for a vote. I had emailed each board member a benefit term sheet, as well as a letter of support from the town for this project, which everyone should have received. But I just want to hit on some bullet points here real quick on this project. I know it's my understanding that the school board wants to be ensured that the town of Newburgh is receiving its fair share of compensation to maintain this retail site. I strongly suggest that the school board approve this Ridge project because it is beneficial to the taxpayers of the town of Newburgh. Currently, the town receives a pilot payment of approximately $200,000 from Danscamer, which is a power plant in the town. Additionally, Danscamer pays a host agreement of $200,000 for a total of approximately $400,000 per year, making Danscamer the highest revenue generating property in the town of Newburgh. Our second highest taxpayer is Central Hudson, approximately $224,000. Our third highest is Rosen CCI, which is another power plant, which pays the town approximately $83,749. The pilot payments from the Ridge to the town appear to be low for such a large project. However, when coupled with a host agreement of $3 million spread over the first 10 years, the average amount is approximately $450,000 per year over the first 10 years, making this project generate more than any other property in the town of Newburgh. The host agreement will be reviewed for year 11 through 20. And another thing is, tertiary suits are greatly reduced with pilots. It's also been agreed, and will be in our host agreement, that there will be no residential units will be on the property, assuring that this project could not place a burden on the school district. There is an estimated 600 jobs to be created and this will be filled by the town of Newburgh, city of Newburgh, and New Windsor. There's also a large portion of sales tax which Orange County will receive and be distributed to all municipalities throughout Orange County. As a town official, I am in complete support of this project. My board is ready to approve the pilot with a host agreement accompanying it. So I really ask the school board to do the same and support what the town of Newburgh wants to support. Thank you very much.
The next person I have is Ms. Joanne Peretta. Okay. And then last I have Mr. Neil Shalom.
Good evening. My name is Neil Shalom. I'm with Waterstone Properties Group out of Boston. We've worked with the town to come up with a plan for this property, which I believe, and I believe the town believes, is the highest and best use for this property, which is about approximately 700,000 square foot mixed-use retail project with restaurants, entertainment, retail stores. We plan to have some medical office there, corporate offices. We worked with the town to come up with a benefit package, as well as the school board. We believe it's been a very collaborative process that had give and take, but I think it works for everybody. We're going to have a development that I think everyone would be proud of in town. At least we will do our best to do that. We'll employ about 850 people on site. We've worked through internship programs and other town center benefits that we think, I think everyone will be very happy to have. A little background about Waterstone. I was here at the last meeting and didn't have a chance to speak, but I just thought I would give a little bit of background about our company. Like I said, we're out of Boston, just outside of Boston, in Needham. We own and operate about 60 retail and medical office projects. Our other division operates about 55 big box warehouses, mainly on the East Coast for the retail and medical office, and spread around the country on the warehouse distribution and manufacturing. We have an S&P credit rating of A, S&P Global credit rating of A. All our projects are financed with banks, but all our own equity. And we own and operate our projects for the long term. We almost never sell anything, and it's our commitment to do this project, stay here, manage it, operate it, and make it successful. In order to make this project viable, after talking about the give and take and the different benefits and hopefully attractive project that we plan to develop, this pilot program is very important based on the difficulties and challenges at the site in order to make it a viable investment and economically viable. Like I said, I think there are benefits to the town, the school board, the county, and if we all work together, it'll be good for all parties. But without it, we're not going to be able to do the project as presently presented. So if everybody is pleased with the cooperation that we've had and the packages that we've worked out with the different factions, I encourage you to vote for it. Otherwise, we're happy to talk about it some more, but I think we've done a lot of that, and hopefully we're in a position where people are enthusiastic about it. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board on agenda items? If not, we're going to move on. We're going to move to 4.1, which is my section. Ms. Prakash, Mr. Howard, Dr. Padilla, and I were lucky enough to be able to attend the New York State School Board Convention and Expo. And I'd like to tell you what I learned. Well, everybody's leaving. So, Ms. Prakash and I went to 2 workshops, one on using Facebook and Twitter as a school board to understand what's going on in the district. And I learned about something called the Twitter dashboard, which was really interesting. So you can see everything that's going on in Twitter on certain subjects. And then we talked about working with public opinion. And that we went to just because of what's up and coming for us in the near future with hopefully our bond. The last thing we did was we presented, and my insecurity said there would be 6 people in our audience. And luckily, we had a full house. We presented something called the Special Sauce, and it was about our project at West Street School. It was really it was a good presentation, and I was pleasantly surprised because people came up afterwards and asked us about it. And I'm hoping that we'll have lots of visitors coming to see our school, because West Street is definitely a special place. So I'd like to ask Ms. Prakash if you have a comment, or Dr. Padilla if you have a comment about this conference that we went on.
The thing I was most impressed with was, first of all, the size of the group that we presented to. we had to walk through several spaces. We were way in the back, so we thought, well, this is not going to be very well attended. And we walked in there and the room was packed full. But it was very heartening to me to see that so many school districts throughout the state are looking for the same type of school and program that we were presenting. The need for a non-traditional type of setting for certain students, as I call them, square pegs in the round hole. Many districts, small and large, rural and suburban and also city, were very interested in it. So I foresee this year of having a lot of contact with these school districts, which I was very impressed with them. And also the communications workshop that Ms. Beneo and I went to, that I think was almost 4 hours long, was very good as far as helping us, I think, is going to help us in the future with presenting our capital project. So I thought it was a very good conference, and I got quite a bit out of it.
So this was the first time where I presented and have presented at national conferences. This is the first time I presented with board members, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a pleasure planning the session with you guys and then ultimately executing it. I had the pleasure of also attending a full-day pre-law conference where I got to hear a number of things going across the state, but also the country. And there's a lot of information that will be coming out soon regarding ESSA and the impact on districts in New York. So I would say hold on tight. There's a lot coming, and we're going to have to make sense of everything. So thank you.
So thank you all for allowing us to go to that conference. I think it was really good for us to learn, to be lifelong learners, and also for us to show off a little bit. So thank you. 4.2 is a resolution for the second reading and adoption of policies 5000, with the exceptions that we talked about last meeting. I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clark.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
4.3, resolution to approve certain payments in lieu of tax with the Ridge Hudson Valley LLC project. I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Yes, Mr. Strittmeyer?
Is it possible that the questions that were asked and presented to us in writing, the answers, does that get put into the record for the minutes so that the public can read the answers at a future time?
That's up to the board. So we can do that if we can go around and get consensus. Okay? So I know you feel positively about that, putting it on Word docs?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Walker, I'm just getting a consensus. How do you feel about putting that information on Word docs?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
And yes. So that, thank you.
Thank you.
Any, go ahead.
I do have a question on the number 3 answer. Question was, what retailers are already signed onto the project for a long-term lease? And the answer was ShopRite and BJ's Wholesale, as far as a 10-year or greater lease. If the project does not get approved, what happens to those leases? Are they contingent upon approval, or is it contingent upon something else? You know, if they've already signed on to the lease, is that tied into anything we do here?
I know that I can't answer your question. Can you answer, Dr. Dean?
I don't know if I can. I'm not sure I can answer that with great specificity. I mean, my understanding is they're trying to, they have a proposal, and they are working to they're in communication with a number of people that they're negotiating with. So if this doesn't pass or leads to those agreements, that's something for them to figure out. I don't know if I can, I'm not part of that
Mr.
conversation.
Shalom, can I call on Mr. Shalom to answer that, Dr. Padilla, please?
So we have signed deals. So we have assigned leases with BJ's, ShopRite, and a good handful of other tenants. I can't give you a list because I don't know it offhand, but those are the major tenants. We are just finalizing a letter of intent with a medical user, subject to a modification with the planning board. If we don't get the pilot program approved, it has nothing to do with the leases. If we decide not to go forward for whatever reason, then there are termination rights by us in the leases.
The document that you requested is now public already. I just put it up. You have to refresh your screen. The question's now public, yes. Okay? Are there any other questions? Mr. Stradine? No. You sure? Okay. Anybody else questions? Roll call, Ms. Go ahead, Ms.
It's
Prokop.
very difficult with only 5 members to vote on without all 9 members. I know we've been throwing this back and forth, but I think with just 5 of us, I don't know how anybody else feels about this.
If you feel strongly, you can always table it. And then it comes back in 2 weeks, right?
I'd like to table it till we have everybody here to vote on it.
Okay.
Because we've had strong opinions.
I have a motion to table. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So, can I have a roll call, Mr. Clerk, on tabling?
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stradine?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
That item is tabled.
Thank you. We're going to move on to board committee reports. Personnel committee, Ms. Prokop.
Yes, we had personnel last week, and many of the things are on tonight as resolutions. Some being the 21st century appointments, Schedule J appointments, coaching appointments. Also, the creation of a new elementary school teacher and a social worker for the district. Also, an intramural facilitator and after-school APEC appointments.
Thank you. Would you continue with buildings and
Yes,
grounds,
Buildings
please?
and Grounds was a very short meeting, but we did discuss the need, I think they did it already, for paving Rose Street, which is right next to the high school because of such severe potholes. The kiln installation at West was supposed to be done. We had facility requests, and also we talked about designs for the new vans, van racks.
Thank you. We're going to move on. Exceptional learners, Mr. Howard isn't here. And curriculum committee, Mr. Tabano's not here. We're going to hold those over for next time. We're going to move on to the deputy superintendent, Mr. Fortune.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening we have one item, resolution to approve CSE, CPSE committee.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Stradine?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
That concludes my item, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Fortune. We're going to move on to the assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction, Mrs. Felice.
Good evening, Madam President. We'd like to begin this evening by requesting to amend item 7.1, the resolution to approve conference request. We'd like to remove Chris Bear and Marie Shore from the list, adding Yaya Whaley in place of Marie Shore.
Okay, so first I have to have a motion on the resolution as it stands. So may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Okay. Now, I need a resolution to amend by removing Mr. Bear and Mrs. Shaw and replacing them with Mrs. Yaya Whaley. Okay, both, so 2 for 1. Okay, so everybody has that? So I need a motion to amend. Okay. Any questions or discussion? So I need a roll call to amend.
Ms. Walker? Mr. Walker?
Yeah.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes. So now we have an amended resolution on the floor. Any questions or discussion on that? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop? Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Item 7.2 is the resolution to approve field trip requests. I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Yes, Mr. Stritter?
Is it possible during budget time to allocate funds for field trips so that they don't have to have all this fundraising to go on just for field trips? Can it just be a pool of money for each school so that the school can decide what to use that money for field trips?
That is something we can take under consideration when developing the budget.
Mrs. Felice?
Yes, ma'am. Currently, the funding that's allotted through the general fund for field trip requests is specifically for transportation. We expect student activity funds to fund any admissions.
So is it possible to budget that money for the admissions? Or is it not able to do that?
So legally, funds used for field trips need to be connected to content. So things outside of the curriculum generally would require fundraising. So if it's content related, curriculum related, then certainly that's something we can build into the budget.
It appears that two that are student activity are content related. I guess it would have to be approved through the curriculum. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Mr.
Just a comment that I think I also would appreciate if the administration could take a look and see if there are additional costs in connection with field trips that could be budgeted for. I'm aware that many students are kind of under pressure to do fundraising, and I think it would be nice especially if content related, if field trips that are benefiting the kids academically wouldn't require them to have to raise funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Item 7.3 is a resolution to approve new course request for NFA West.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Item 7.4 is the resolution to authorize the superintendent to purchase iReady test prep books.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Mr. Johnson?
Could we let us know, are these resources already in use in the district in some way? And are these consumable resources that would be just good for the 1 year?
These are consumable workbooks. They're for test preparation. We have used them in the past in their Saturday Academy for grades 3 through 8 and at Temple Hill.
Mr. Stritter?
So Saturday Academy is by invitation only, is that correct?
We are not scheduling Saturday Academy as a district coordinated activity this year.
So these test prep books will be used in the classroom during the regular day?
As part of the academic intervention in classrooms.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
yes.
Item 7.5 is the resolution to approve pre-K curriculum and assessments.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So
Questions or discussion? Mr. Johnson, did you have a question on this?
Yeah, if we got a little bit more information about this. Is the intention to roll this out this year, And it seems like a good deal of this would be an online resource. Could you explain that just a little bit?
Sure. This would be for implementation in the current year. It is the result of an audit that the district underwent last year by NYSED. Teaching guides will be digital and hard copy for teacher use. In addition, the teaching cards for stations and centers are also expected to be digital and hard copy. There will also be DVDs and books as part of the kits.
And something else struck me about the quote, and that was just the scheduling of it. It looks like it's covering from October through October. So would it make sense to have it end at the end of the academic year? Or?
We can revise the dates. It's an annual subscription though, so we would have to prorate if we were to change the dates so that they run until the end of June.
Any other questions or discussion? I'm going to suggest that.
Well, it just seems that we're paying for July through October, right? And the academic year would run through June. So it seems like there are a lot of extra months there. I guess if they're going to charge the full year, it seems like we're kind of out of kilter with the academic year. If that makes sense.
Yes, Ms. Kirkpatrick?
The only question I have on that, if there were summer programs for students that need it in this, would they could then use the same material in the summer?
If we had a pre-K summer program,
If there
yes,
was
ma'am.
something like pre-K or early intervention program in the summer, then the same material could be then used for them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Item 7.6 is the resolution to authorize the superintendent to purchase licenses and professional development for New Zealand.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Thank you. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Item 7.7 is the resolution to authorize the superintendent to purchase professional development services from Houghton Mifflin Harcourt for exceptional learners' use of Read 180.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll, Mr. Stritter, sorry.
Is this for 5 days at the one school?
No, this would service the 2 middle schools, the 2 hill schools, and the 9th grade self-contained at NFA Maine.
So it's 1 day at each school?
It's up to 5 days in total hours for side-by-side coaching, and it will be scheduled accordingly.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Item
Sorry, my microphone's
7.8.
going nuts.
Item 7.8 is the resolution to authorize the superintendent to execute an agreement with Project Lead the Way.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. That concludes our CNI items.
Thank you, Mrs. Felice. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent for Finance, Mr. Kern.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening. Item 8.1, resolution to accept bills and reports.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Item 8.2, resolution to approve the 2018 RCLS budget, and that stands for the Ramapo Catskill Library System.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Maneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stridarn?
Yes. Item 8.3, resolution to authorize the purchase of milk coolers for the food service department.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Maneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stridarn?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Item 8.4, resolution to authorize property tax refund pursuant to a court order.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Maneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stridarn?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Item 8.5, resolution to authorize property tax refund pursuant to court order.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stridarn?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston? Ms. Maneo?
Yes.
Item 8.6, resolution accepting independent auditors report from the Donahue Group LLP.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stridarn?
Yes.
Mr. Tavano? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston? Ms. Maneo?
Yes.
Madam President, that concludes the items from finance for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Kern. We're going to move on to the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Mr. McLemore.
Thank you, Madam President. Item 9.1 on the HR agenda, I have items A through J for your consideration.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Maneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stridarn?
Yes.
Item 9.2 is a resolution to approve 21st Century After School Academy appointments.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Johnston? Ms. Maneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stridarn?
Yes.
Mr. Tavano? Oops, he's not here. Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Item 9.3 is a resolution to approve after-school review and recovery program appointments in effect.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Yes, Mr. Stridarn?
Was this discussed in the curriculum committee at any point in the last few months?
Your question is, was this discussed in curriculum?
Yes. The after-school program itself, the details of what was going to happen.
I can't answer. It was discussed in personnel.
Now.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Felice and then Ms. Prakash?
The project Lead the Way is the 21st Century grant training. And so Project Lead the Way, which is a science-based program, is what will be executed as part of this after-school program. 24 modules of STEM teaching.
That's 9.2. I think we're on 9.3. Are we on 9.3? Yes, we're on 9.3. So, would you, do you have a comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a question, because this is basically the apex, correct, 9.3?
What's after school review?
I'm pretty sure because it's, I just want to make sure it's at all three campuses, not just at two campuses.
Can somebody answer it? Is it, can you roll up, please? Well, I see only one person from NFA West.
There's supposed to be two.
There's more, there's three. I see three.
That's at all three campuses.
Okay. So there'll be more on this on the weekly, so is everybody okay with any more questions or discussion? Or do you want to table it?
Is this Apex?
Yes.
This is Apex.
We can table this along with the one that's coming up in the future. So I need a motion to table.
I'll motion to table this.
Thank you. Table. Can I have a second, please? Okay, roll call, Mr. Park?
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 9.4 is a resolution to approve after-school program appointments, STEAM Academy.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So,
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is not STEAM, correct?
This is not,
I mean, this is not the Apex.
no, this is Steve.
Okay.
Okay. You okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Prokop?
yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Item 9.5 is a resolution to approve 2017-18 fall coaching appointments.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So,
Questions or discussion? Yes, Mr. Stern.
When did the season start? I thought we were in winter coaching. I'm just curious.
Dr. D, would you like to address this, please?
Let my winter season starts next month.
This is a full.
I know, he's gonna explain it.
So there was a snafu with the recommendation that came down. We couldn't find the recommendation. The person who was doing the work. We just want to memorialize it by having the board vote on it.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yeah.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston? Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Item 9.7 is a resolution to approve 2017-18 winter coaching appointments.
Want to go around 9.6.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Item 9.6 is a resolution to rescind and approve 2017-18 Schedule J appointments.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
so
Questions or discussion? Yes, Mr. Stern.
The rescinding of number 2, does that mean there is no middle production?
No, it's at the bottom. It's listed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop? Mr. Strittmatter?
Item 9.7 is a resolution to approve 2017-18 winter coaching appointments.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk. Oh, sorry, Mr. Stern.
Has there ever been an assistant head for cheerleading? Is there any such designation for that?
Well, there's a head coach and there's an assistant coach.
And that's already covered here?
Mr. Matt?
Can you repeat the question?
I only see a head coach for cheerleading, not an assistant. Is there no category for an assistant coach for cheerleading?
I don't recall.
Okay, just was wondering if that should be an option for later on.
Yeah, I don't know if there is, it's a small team,
Yeah.
but, I mean, we'll have HR take a look.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Item 9.8 is a resolution to create stipend position of an intramural facilitator.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So,
Questions or discussion?
Just a comment, thank you for adding the descriptions there, I appreciate having those available.
We hope to see more of those. Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Ms. Benega?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
yes.
Mr. Strinire?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Item 9.9 is a resolution to create one FTE elementary teacher position.
Entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Yes, Mrs. Strinire?
Just in general, are these positions that have already been budgeted but haven't been filled yet? This is a new position that wasn't taken into account during budget time?
Dr. Padilla?
It's a new position, and you didn't ask the question, but I'll mention it anyway. It will be a position for GAMS, and it wasn't budgeted, but we have room in our budget to cover it.
So at this point in October, we're finding money in the budget for positions that were just eliminated in June. Well, okay.
Could you say that again?
We're
Please.
finding money in the budget for this
I
year
got that part.
that we couldn't find the money for the 3 positions, or they were moved out of New Windsor. Remember we said can't find the money? Now we can find the money. So I just asking if this is the case.
Was money the question there, or was it the need?
Well, the need is the need. I don't mind spending money on the need. I just, it's always finding money.
Okay. Any other, go ahead.
Yeah, could someone say a little bit about the motivation for creating the position at this time?
So both principals of pre-K and GAMS came down and met with me and some other people on my team expressing a concern regarding pre-K and having teachers from GAMS cover classes in the pre-K program and how that wasn't affording them the opportunity and time to offer music lessons for students at GAMS. So as a result, this position will be targeted for pre-K, whereby then freeing up the teachers who are covering classes in pre-K to offer music lessons to students.
Great. I'm actually very happy to hear that, because I'm glad to hear that music lessons have a priority within the district. And I would request the administration to see if there might be other things within the district where the scheduling of music lessons is a challenge. That may be the case. And I think the music lessons that the district awards are a great benefit to the children in the district. Thank you.
Well, to add to that, if we're looking to have a band or an orchestra at the high school level, we've got to start them somewhere, and it's got to be in the elementary school. So we really need to have those programs, there and solid. So thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead, Mr. Strinire.
I believe this came up in personnel over a year ago, this issue. So it's being resolved at this point now.
So, no, that's not true. The board approved the position last year when this came up. So that's the
There was
position
some
you're
kind of
referring to.
solution that's
So the position was being split between GAMS and pre-K. So at that time, we resolved the issue by bringing on another FTE in order to support both programs. But as a result, they have come back and said, we actually think we need one more person so that way the teachers at GAMS can provide their lessons by having a full-time person at pre-K. So that's what we're trying to do.
Anybody else? Roll call, Mr. Clerk?
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Strinire?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Benega?
Yes.
Item 9.10 is a resolution to create one FTE social worker position.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion?
Yes, could we learn which building this will be at, and is there a motivation, the motivation behind this position?
So this is a position that we have earmarked for NFA West. After observing and visiting NFA West, we only have 1.5 dedicated PPS staff in that particular building. We have a full-time school counselor and a half-time school psychologist. I believe with it being a non-traditional school, the SEL needs of those particular students to integrate into that program to be successful requires an additional person to provide not just for crisis intervention or for immediate attention needs of the students, but for the long-term transition of those students to maintain them in the program. So it's now creating a team of individuals that can respond, but also address the specific developmental needs of that particular program.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Stronach?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Madam President, I'd like to request permission to table 9.11.
Can I have a motion to table, please?
Point of order, you need a motion to put it on the floor first,
Sorry.
and then you need a motion to table.
All right, so we have the resolution to create a facilitator position for Apex. I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Now, a motion to table. Anybody? Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop? Mr. Stronach?
Yes.
Item 9.12 is a resolution to approve tenure recommendations.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stronach? Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Item 9.13 is for your information only, people who, staff that are going to be coming up for tenure. That concludes my items, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. We're going to move to the clerk of the board, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you, Madam President. I have the approval of the minutes from October 10th, 2017.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stronach?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
And then I have the approval of the 17-18 budget calendar.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stronach?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
That concludes my items, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. We're now at the portion of the agenda for public discussion on non-agenda items. Please refer to the procedure sheet next to the sign-in sheet. Would anybody like to address the board on non-agenda items? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting, please. Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Stronach?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston? Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice evening.